All right, I'd like to talk about this particular pistol over here. This is a Ruger standard model pistol. This is actually the 5.5 inch bull barreled target model. But this particular pistol built an empire. This is the first pistol that Ruger actually introduced to the United States in 1949, and that's what makes this pistol important. Because if it wasn't for this pistol, we probably wouldn't have Ruger firearms today. Now, what I really liked about this particular pistol is that it reminds me of this one right here. This pistol looks so much like a Luger. You notice the grip frame is like almost exactly like a Luger pistol. Now, the barrel looks different on this gun because this is the special target barrel, but the original barrel for the standard model was actually shaped like a Luger barrel. It was tapered and it was a little longer. This is like a 4-inch barrel, and the original ones are 4.75 inches, I think. This particular pistol is the Mark I version of the standard pistol that Ruger made from 1949. I bought this one brand new back in 1981, and I've been really happy with it, with only one little minor problem with it. Now, the Mark I pistols, their big problem, just checking to make sure it's unloaded. The only real problem with the Mark I's is that the Mark I pistol did not have a bolt hold open device. So when you fire the last round in the magazine, it won't lock open. It'll just go forward. And then you always end up dry firing the gun every time you shoot it. Now, the problem is that this is a rimfire gun because it's 22 long rifle. And the problem with dry firing a rimfire gun is you can cause damage to most pistols and rifles that are in 22 long rifle. And the reason you can damage your pistol or rifle when you dry fire a 22 is because the 22 long rifle is what they call a rimfire round, and the firing pin hits the edge or the rim of the cartridge case. The problem with that is if there's no cartridge in the chamber, the firing pin can actually hit the edge of the chamber wall, and that can cause problems. On this particular gun, I owned it for a couple of years, and I shot it a lot, and all of a sudden it started jamming on me. And what happened is that because this had no bolt hold open device, what it was doing is I was dry firing the gun. It was actually hitting, the firing pin was actually hitting the chamber wall, and it brought up a little burr. And the burr was on the top of the chamber up here. The rounds fed in from the bottom, and they would hit a little burr that was kicked up from dry firing the gun on the last shot, after the last shot was fired, and it would cause the gun to jam. And it took me a while to figure out why the gun was jamming, because this gun never jammed before. So I ended up having to take a Dremel tool and grind off that little burr that was in the chamber because of the dry firing. So if you guys ever buy or get a hold of one of these Mark I pistols and you have the gun and the pistol starts jamming on you and won't feed, look at that chamber and look for a burr on it. If there's a burr there, get yourself a Dremel tool or a little round gunsmithing file and file that off. And once you file that burr off, it'll be relieved enough so that that firing pin, even when you dry fire it every time you go through a magazine, it will not cause any more damage once you file the old burr off, because it's relieved enough so the firing pin will not hit the chamber anymore. That's the only problem I've had with this gun. These Ruger standard model pistols are so reliable. I've had other semi-automatic 22 long rifle pistols, and I've always had problems with them. They would always jam once in a while, but once I fixed that problem with that burr on the chamber, this pistol just shoots and it just runs like a Swiss watch. The only other problem that people have with these guns is they're sort of hard. They're easy to take apart, but they're hard to put back together. You have to finagle it to get it to work. Well, these problems that I was telling you about, the dry firing with the no bolt hold open device and the those problems have been addressed later on when they came up with the Mark II and Mark III and Mark IV versions of these guns. When they came out with a Mark II version, they came up with a bolt hold open device that would actually hold the bolt open after you fired the last round of the magazine, and that meant that you're not dry firing the gun anymore, so you can't put a burr on your chamber. So that was good. And then when they came to the Mark III, they changed the way the magazines fit in. I mean, they changed the magazine release. This particular gun has the Mark I and Mark II have the release on the bottom here like this. You have to actually push on this little lever here. That's sort of like what the Europeans do when they remove for a magazine release. And the Mark III, I think they put the magazine release somewhere on the frame like we're used to it like in a .45 pistol. So that's another difference. They also changed the types of magazines too. This one will hold, this magazine, the original Mark I magazine, holds like 9 rounds. I believe the new ones hold 10 rounds. Now if you look at this compared to the this is a Luger magazine, and it looks surprisingly like a Luger magazine. You have the same little follower that you can use to help load the magazine. It's the same thing on this gun. It looks like a Luger magazine. So that's another similarity. What this gun reminds me of, it's like a cross between a Luger pistol and a Japanese Nambu pistol with the way this bolt is. This reminds me of a Nambu pistol. And I heard that Bill Ruger, the guy that designed this, I heard that he was in the Navy, I guess, and he was. I heard that he was in. I guess he was in the Asian theater, and he might have seen a Nambu. And of course, anyone's seen a Luger probably. So he's seen the Luger and the Nambu, and this is. I think that he might have used those two pistols to come up with this gun. But what I really like about this being being like a Luger is that you've got this grip frame that fits your hand perfectly. Now the grips on this particular gun are special. These are Target grips that I bought and put on this gun, and it is very comfortable. You just hold it, you got your thumb rest over here. Very accurate pistol. You have a very wide trigger here, and this makes the trigger feel much lighter than it is. So it's a true Target pistol. You have very nice adjustable sights in the front and the rear here. It's just a brilliant little pistol. And so like I said, the Mark I was the first version that they built from 1949 into the 80s. Then you had the Mark II, which you came up with a bolt hold open device. The only way you could hold the bolt open on this gun is to use the safety. This is your safety button right here. You can flick the safety here with the bolt closed and it'll lock the bolt. Or you can open the bolt and flick the safety on, and it'll hold the bolt open. That's the only way to hold the bolt open on this particular gun. And you put the safety, and it'll drop the bolt. But like I said, the Mark II has a bolt hold open device. See, the Mark III has the new location for the magazine release. And the Mark IV is supposedly easier to put together than the original Mark I, II, or III. Some people have a lot of trouble getting this gun together, and I did it first. You just have to practice and practice to figure out how to put this gun together once you take it apart. But like I said, the thing about this gun is it's comfortable, it's accurate, it's reliable. The only problem is that they're expensive now. And when I bought this gun, it was like $200 back in 1981. That was a lot of money, but they're talking $400 or $500 now for these guns. That's a lot of money, but like I said, you buy one of these guns and it will last your entire lifetime. I've owned this for, what, 40 years now? It's just a great pistol, and I can't recommend it enough. That's all I got to say, and I wanted to thank my wife for videotaping this. Thank you.